Hello people, thank you so much for the last video. I would never expect one of my videos to do so well in the first 3 months of my channel's existence. I was overwhelmed with joy when I saw the views. Thank you to the people who commented, because now I know that y'all want to see videos like this. Anyway, today we will see the story of the USA in Hoi 4, Kaiser redux. Okay, be honest. Who honestly thought we were gonna do USA? Who? Like, come on. Obviously, we are doing Czechoslovakia. But anyway, before I start the video, I want to quickly remind y'all to like and subscribe so that people see my videos. And yes. Alright, enough talking. On to the video. The land of Bohemia had been under the control of the Austrians for hundreds of years, and we are yet to see any signs of independence. This led to a massive loss of culture over time. Luckily, our new monarch, Karl I, admires Bohemia and invested a lot of money into us, but that mattered little, because in early 1936 the German stock market crashed, bringing down the economy of the most powerful nation in the world. This crash also affected every nation except the syndicalists, because they were already suffering from syndicalism. Here, you take that back! Anyway, the crash was later remembered as Black Monday. After Black Monday hit Bohemia, many of our people started helping our nation recover, while the rest of the nations in the Austrian Empire were going mad. Bohemia was one of the first nations in the empire to recover from Black Monday. This event showed that the people can independently run our country. Many people started to question independence, but our government told us to lay low on wanting independence, because if the Austrians hear about this, we will have to pay a very big price, and the price might not be money. Sad news had reached the empire at 7 a.m. on July 3rd, 1936. Our leader, Masaryk, had sadly passed. He was famous for bringing the Czech culture back into existence in the empire, and for that he was given a proper funeral in Vienna, and he will always be remembered in the hearts of all Czechs. The next day, Karl I sent us a handwritten letter about how great of a leader we had. Times might be tougher than ever, but time does not wait for anything. Thus, we cannot use up our time. Elections were announced to happen on August 25th. 5 parties ended up making it to election day, and when the results were in, the government in Vienna would have had a stroke if they had realized who just won Bohemian elections. Franciszek Maras, with his somewhat authoritarian government, had become the leader of Bohemia. Maras was known for his pro-Czech stance, and his goal was to steer Bohemia out of the Austrian Empire in the best way possible, so that the Czechs could finally be proud of their country being independent. Soon after Maras's victory in the elections, a new radio group named Radio Prague had been established, because they no longer fear revealing real news about how bad the Austrian Empire really was. Maras announced to the Austrian Empire that he is responsible for Bohemia and Bohemia only. He will refuse to help the Austrians unless it benefits his people. The Austrians started to dislike our governor because he was showing a lot of nationalism and pride for Czech culture. But there was little the Austrians could do about it, because they were still recovering from Black Monday. Maras started spending a lot of the government's money on improving the infrastructure in Bohemia, and he also invested a lot of money into growing businesses. Hey, do you want to be like Maras and invest in growing things? Just click the like and subscribe button. It's free and it'll help a lot. Thanks. Okay, back to the video. In November, we had one of the best harvests in our history, even after Black Monday hit our country quite hard. This not only shows the strength and the courage of the Czech people during tough times, but also once again shows that we can run our country without Austria. 1937 started with Maras addressing the nation, saying that the people's problems are the nation's problems, and that the people come first in every case. In February, one of our ministers disappeared without any trace of what happened. Many people believe that this was the Austrians' way on making sure that they keep us under their control. Many people started supporting independence even more after this. And to counter Austria, Mares signed a new law stating that only Czechs are allowed to rule Bohemia. Mares also made a speech talking about that no matter your social class, we are all Czechs, and we all work together for the greater good of the nation. In April, we were invited to a meeting with the Austrians and Hungarians. We took this as an opportunity to talk about the problems Austria has caused us. Fearing escalation after the meeting, Mares announced a limited conscription law in case the worst happens. Luckily, the Austrians did not escalate our question, but we decided that we will keep the limited conscription law because we believe that there is a good chance of war in the near future. Our government started spreading propaganda about how great nationalism is, and we announced a clear anti-red policy. On July 19th, we received news that the Ukrainians had seized our assets. We were very mad, and together with other nations who were stolen from, launched massive anti-Ukraine newspapers to destroy Ukraine's image on the world stage. In November, we had become the richest and most industrialized nation in the Austrian Empire. In 1938, massive protests started happening in Bosnia. The Austrians did not think much about it and left the situation to the police. Little did they know that was the worst thing they could have done. Serbia started massively funding the protests and then started giving out weapons. In late 1938, it happened. Illyria declared independence and was ready to fight for their freedom. Austria was unprepared and sent poorly prepared men to fight the rebellion. Hungary joined the war and asked for us and Galicia to join. We declined, and we influenced Galicia to decline as well. Months of fighting later, it seemed like the conflict entered a stalemate. Soon after, the Austrians advanced a little bit. We were then very surprised when we heard the news that Austria had made a deal with Ukraine to sell them Galicia in return for supplies to fight the rebels. Mares then had two thoughts come to mind. One, if they can sell Galicia to Ukraine, they can sell Bohemia to Germany, and it would be much harder getting independence from there. The second thought that came to mind was, if Austria is so desperate that they have to give up land, it shows that now is the time for freedom. Before Mares could make his decision, a representative from Slovakia had entered his room and started to talk about how horrible they were doing under Hungarian control, and they would like to join Czechia in the fight against the evil empire, and then form the country of Czechoslovakia to ensure unity between the two peoples, and guarantee independence forever. After Mares thought about it, he agreed. On May 6, 1939, Mares proclaimed Czechoslovakia as an independent nation. Just hours later, Austria declared war on us. Hundreds upon thousands of young men joined the Czechoslovak army to fight for their freedoms. After a week of fighting, all of Czechoslovakia had been liberated from Hungarian control. After this impressive victory, many believed that Austria would soon sue for peace. But we were mistaken, and they declined. The decision was now up to us. It's either we stay in our borders and stop Austria from invading us, and after months they would surrender, or we could invade the Austrian Empire and risk destroying our relationship with them forever. We also risk destroying many historical artifacts at the same time. So, obviously we chose the least destructive option for us. Option 2 was chosen, and because Austria did not expect us to do something like that, it was very easy to break through their lines without any problems. And after a quick and destructive battle for Vienna, we captured it. After 4 months of fighting in Hungary, we captured Budapest. Austria was losing on all sides and surrendered. In the peace deal, we were given our independence, and Serbia got all of Illyria, as well as Slovenia, and Romania took Transylvania. All that was left of Austria-Hungary was Austria and Hungary. But that did not last very long because Hungary declared independence, and Austria could do nothing but declare the end of the empire. Karl I was forced to abdicate and Austria became a democracy. September 9th became Independence Day, and it was meant to be the most celebrated holiday in Czechoslovakia. but we were not able to celebrate our holiday because the Second World War had begun in Europe. And Mares said that we had to spend more money on the military to make sure that Czechoslovakia stays independent. Germany was holding off the French, but they were getting crushed by the Russians, and in a panic demanded that Austria become part of Germany. Austria did not want to get invaded by another nation again, because they were still recovering from when we destroyed the capital and their villages. Austria then said no to Germany. Germany said that they will declare war on Austria if they don't join peacefully. Mares decided to intervene and contacted Austria. We all remember how Austria tried destroying us, and we were hesitant to talk to them. But many knew that a strong Germany is much scarier than what is left of Austria. Mares managed to sign a treaty with Austria that said, both Austria and Czechoslovakia must help each other out in times of need, and must respect each other as equals, so that nobody is in control of the other. Well, something along those lines. After the treaty was signed, Germany declared war on Austria, and we joined in to help Austria against Germany. The German planes tried to destroy our industry, but the brave people of our nation had built homemade AA guns to defend their home. Our goal was to end the war as fast as possible, and we ordered our army to advance into Germany. The Russians were closing in, and the French had broken through. The war ended in 1941. But the story did not end there, because a Cold War had begun between the United Nations and the Syndicalists. Every nation that was not Syndicalist was part of the UN, and that included us. Syndicalism started coming to an end in the late 80s, and in the 90s, the world was finally free, and Czechoslovakia lived happily ever after.
For now. If you don't like and subscribe, Mares will see you in your bed tonight, and you will find out where Carl was exiled to.